introduce all the concepts for you and a 5-stage approach to an IT systems design, and then you will be able, after all, apply a 5-stage approach to an IT system design, and we will work in groups to write the outline of an IT system and present it to the class at the end of the seminar. So it will be very intense this seminar though. So the first thing I want you to start thinking about which one of these 3 scenarios or industry you will be working in groups, okay? You don't know the groups yet. Only at the end of my explanation I will set up the groups, but you can start thinking about which sector, industry would be more appealing for you, that you would like to design the outline of the system following the 5 stages that I will show you. So could be for a supermarket, could be a system for a shoes store, or could be a system for a thematic park. So in order to design a system, we have several approaches. I just come up with one approach, which we call a 5-stage approach to an IT systems design. The first stage is define the problem the system will help to solve. What that means? You need to decide which problem you can solve or help to solve with the system. For example, could be make the register of a new user easier, or could be to facilitate a checkout in a supermarket, or could be to facilitate a client to find a product in the store. You need to think, of course, first of all, in the problem you want to solve and how the system you make the life of the users easier. Okay? Why to invest in the system? Why to develop a new IT system? You need to think about the definition of the problem. This would be the first step. The second step is to define and understand the users of the system. We call these personas as well, to define the persona of the system. And we will see in the details, but typically you make a survey, a research, and find out what are the main users, how they act, how they use the system, what are their pains in terms of what they find difficult. For example, if you want to help the customer to find to facilitate the customer to find a product in a store, you need to think how the customer do this task of looking at searching for a product in the store today. And then you need to map these steps, and as well to understand the demographics of this customer. What are the persona of this customer? The way you will design your system will be different for people. If your target market, your persona is older, let's say from 50 to 60 years old, the design of the system will be different for youngers. Yes, you need to know. Therefore, you need to know very well the personas and define very well the personas that will use the system. The third step will be defining the pains, which you already started since the approach number 1, and then you continue to do that in the approach number 2. But in the approach number 3, you needed to define how the system will solve the pains of the customer. In the example I gave, a customer searching for a product in the store, how the system can facilitate. Or in another example, how the system can facilitate the checkout. And what are the pains, the actual pains today for the customers that the system will help to solve. The fourth step, fourth approach, would be consider how the design of the system will provide an excellent customer experience. These two letters, capital letters UX, means customer experiences. You might seen this before already. Just reinforcing UX, customer experience. So how the design of your system, the design I mean the layout of the system, right? The colors, the ways that people will search for information in your system, how they will interact with the system, how many clicks in the case of a website, for example, how many clicks the customer needs to have in order to buy a product. If you think about the customer experience in Amazon's website, for example, in the e-commerce, you can buy in one click buy. So they talked about the customer experience. If you design a mobile version of a system, how the mobile version should be will be like infinite scroll down, yes, by click, by touch. So you need to think about the design as well, the position of the menu, which option will come first, why. You need to think about as well the hot areas of the system in the screen. So you need to think in the design of the system, not only about the colors and about the positions of the menus, the options, no, but as well about the functionalities of the system. And the fifth approach that you need to think about is the design, the outline of the system. And then I will explain and I will give to you as well a framework that you will fill in as your final task for today's seminar, and this will be the framework that we will show to your colleagues, okay, and you work in groups. So a little bit more about the first stage. Stage 1, define the problem the system will help to solve. What I mean about that? All the details of the system. What is the system name? Who are the system users? What will the system do? What problem? I talked about that already. What problem will the system solve? You need to be broad here to include business objectives as well. What is the design vision and what are the emotional impact goals of the system? In other words, what experience will the system provide to the user? This factor is especially important if the system is a commercial product. So you need to think in all these details when you are thinking the first stage. The second stage is about define and understand the users, the personas that will use the system. So what type of users this persona possess, age, occupation, biography, the system's goals, the pains to be avoided in terms of the system will be easier to use, will be easy to find the information, will be easier for the user to set a command, and any other factor important for the developers to know about this group of users. Thinking in this process as a process of, let's say, building, designing a brief for a marketing agency or for a developer. Yes, it needs to give a comprehensive view of what you want to achieve and how you want to achieve using the system. So, and for your work today, your task, you can use this address that I am giving to you in this slide. So you can use the template that they provide there, and you can fill in with, you will define two personas. The persona 1 with age, income, location, occupation, experience with such a system. Of course, you don't have the way today in this tutorial, in this seminar, of carrying out a research. Therefore, you need to use your experience or your observation that, for example, if you decide to design an outline of a system for a supermarket, you need to think about the profile of people that goes to the supermarket and fill in this persona, okay? And then you do this for two personas, and in this address, in this website, you have a framework that you can fill in. Here is some examples. You can see that here you can put informations about the person, age, gender, if he marital status, if he children, ages of the children, where they live, the challenge and pain points, goals and values for the person, sources of information that the person wants to use to access. You have as well the occupation, job title, annual income, level of education, objections as well, you hold and purchase. Of course, you will not be able to fill in all of these because you should be able, you should interview some people in the real situation. You need to know better your customer than you would carry out some research, talk to people, but you can use your experience, as I said, or you can define your persona. You can define the persona that you want the system to help. Here is another example. So in these 3 slides we have examples, these 2 slides, the first one and the second one. Once you did that, we go for the third step. So defining the pains and gains the system will address. So what is the value proposition? So the products and services, the pain relievers, the gain creators, the value proposition of your system. And you match with the customer profile. What the customer will think as satisfactory from the system, what is the customer jobs, what are the pains that the customer wants you to solve with the system. For example, I want to have a better checkout, or I want to find easier the information about a product or a price or payment conditions. I want to fill in less forms. I want to provide less information. Or you need to think about which kind of problem you can solve with the system you design and fill in with this information. Use the writing facilities. Here you can fill in this part of the task using this diagram. Okay, you can use this diagram to support your work. Here is an example. So customer's job can solve easier than you think. So if you need an application, a product such as this, you have 2 options. The first option would be to buy a product like this. The second option would be to buy all these tools to fix the handle in your wall. So can you come up with an easier solution for the customer job in your scenario? That's what you need to think about. And something cheaper and easier to use, like the picture 1, rather than tools in picture 2. So this is, let's say, the final objective of your work. Yes, it is to facilitate the customer experience, to facilitate the user experience with your system. Otherwise, you will not be. It's worthless. Otherwise, why to invest in a new system? And then the stage 4 The stage 4 is to consider how the design of the system will provide an excellent customer experience. Just remembering, UX is about customer experience, user experience. So, sense of control that the user will have in your system, sense of control that the user will have using your system, trust in human automation cooperation, meaning that the customer needs to trust in your system. Is the system reliable? You made it clear for the customer. Sense of freedom. This is pretty much related to the sense of control. Once the customer feels that that he or she is in control of the situation and it can navigate in the system and make the things autonomously, you have a sense of freedom. Ownership of the process is all correlated. Relatedness to the work community and meaningfulness of the work, and success and achievement. So tick, what you need to do here is to think about all these things and tick the customer experience goals the system covers in the system that you are designing. And the last step would be to fill in to design the outline of the system. This is the framework that you will fill together with your group, okay, after going through all the 4 steps. So you come up with a definition of your system. It is a mission statement for a system to explain the system to outsiders and to help set focus and scope for system development internally. It's normally including all these aspects of the system. I'll give you an example in the next slide. You need to come up with the title of the system, the users, who will be the users in terms of personas, critical functions of the system, which means what are the 3 or 4 critical functions that the system will offer to the users. System goals, what do you want to achieve? Come up with 2 or 3 system goals, at maximum 3. And the target user experience. The system will be targeting to be more emotional, more social, more cultural, or more pragmatic. How will be the design? How will be the tone of voice that you want the system to have and in the communication with the users. And here we have an example of the system concept statement for a ticket kiosk system, for example. It's 139 words. The ticket kiosk system will replace the old ticket retail system, the Modelberg Universe Ticket Transaction Service, by providing 24-hour-a-day distributed kiosk service to general public. So it's explaining that is a system that is replacing our old version, will be 24 hours a day, and will be distributed kiosk service to general public. There is no specific persona in this case. So this service includes access to comprehensive event information and the capability to rapidly purchase tickets for local events such as concerts, movies, and the performing arts. Yes, this is the main objective and the main functionality of the system. The new system includes a significant expansion of scope to include ticket distribution for the entire MU athletic program. Transportation tickets will also be available, along with directions and park information for specific venues. Compared to conventional tickets outlets, the ticket kiosk system will reduce waiting time and offer far more extensive information about events. And a focus on innovative design will enhance the MU public profile while fostering the spirit of being part of the MU community and offering the customer a beaming interaction experience. So this is the end, let's say, the final brief that you would provide for a developer that comes from filling after thinking in all these steps and filling all these steps, this approach with information. Okay, so this is about and here we have some useful website you may access later to reinforce your learning. But now I want you to work. We will work in groups.